Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Car Stories on the PCTV network. I'm standing in front of Wheels in Motion's new location at 525 East High Street. So stay tuned for another car story live on PCTV.
Hi, I'm Mike Yanessa. Welcome to another edition of Car Stories on PCTV. Tonight, I'm at the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles, and we're going to take a tour. Come join us. Tonight, we're going to start our tour here in the lobby of the Boyertown Museum, and this is always changing. There's different displays going on a few times a year, and I'm lucky enough to have the curator right here, Kendra Cook, and she's going to tell you a little bit about the current displays that are coming, and what's behind us. Kendra?
Hi, Mike. Thanks
Hi.
for coming.
Thank you.
Well, right now in the lobby, we have the Boyertown Car Scene exhibit. And we talk a lot about car clubs that were local to Boyertown. We've got a lot of great memorabilia on display. And we've got 4 absolutely beautiful cars in here, 3 of them owned by former car club members.
Oh.
So this will be up till the end of January or so, and then we're going to have a one-off car, a customized Rhino Speedster, the owner calls it, which is built on a fire truck chassis. And that'll be here for about 2 months, February and March. And then in April, we're going to have a very special exhibit called President Electric. And it's about Woodrow Wilson and how he influenced a lot of new technologies during his presidency, including electric cars, one of which will be on display here in the lobby.
Right, and electric cars you think are new technology, but they've been around for a long time. The museum has a couple other electric cars out there that we'll take a look at. So, and the gift shop behind us, you can get all kind of good stuff, hats, souvenirs from Duryea Day, postcards.
Kids gifts, so we have a whole range of things for sale at our gift shop.
And the museum hours, people should know that.
Museum is open Tuesday through Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're closed Mondays. And most major holidays, you know, Christmas, Thanksgiving, things like that.
And the big thing that the museum does every year is Duryea Day, and that's always Labor Day weekend, right at Boyertown Park.
Boyertown Community Park, very close by to here.
So if you can make it this summer, it's always a good show. One of the cars here in the museum lobby is a 1940 Ford Deluxe convertible, and this is a good story. I actually met this gentleman about a year ago, and he said, I'm looking for a 40 Ford convertible like I used to have when I was a kid. And sure enough, this summer, he found one. And it's real close to his. Back in the 50s, late 40s, this was the car to have. The 40 Ford flathead V8 convertible was the ultimate hot rod of that day. And he's lucky enough to find one in good condition. And here it is in the lobby of the Boyertown Museum. How about this 32 Ford Roadster? It's owned by Scott Ryder. Scott's owned this car since 1955. It won a lot of races between 1955 and 1972. Scott has a machine shop up on 422 in Mount Penn, and he was nice enough to loan this to the museum for the display. And boy, talk about a cool old hot rod. This was as good as it got back in the day. Okay, this beautiful 57 Chevrolet Bel Air hardtop. I know this guy from all the car shows. His nickname is Flip, but his real name is Larry Reiner. He's owned the car since 1959, and he's kept good care of it, used it, and had it restored a few years back. And here it is in the Boyertown Museum, because he's one of the local car club guys that hung around Boyertown, and he was a member of the car club. Over here, the last vehicle in the lobby is a 1932 Ford Coupe. And this one here has a flat blue paint job on it, which a lot of people did back in the day, and it's owned by Dennis Spohn. Another beautiful car. Behind the lobby of the museum is this, what they call the orientation room. Did I get it right? So Kendra can tell you a little bit about what happens in this room.
Well, this is our orientation room, and we actually have another room right next to us, same dimensions, that's the dining room. But we use these 2 rooms for people to use as meeting space, you know, catered events, lunches and dinners. We have this great big screen behind us and a projector so they can
Right.
do movies or slides or whatever. It's good for business meetings too. And we rent this space out, and people are, welcome to contact us and find out how they can
So-
do that for their group.
If you're looking for that special place to have your, next meeting, call the museum and you can have it here. Here we are in the oldest part of the building. This is Jeremiah Swinehart's carriage factory, which in later years became Boyertown Body Works, which is where the museum is now. Kendra, what can you tell us about this swell old room?
Well, the Jeremiah Swinehart Carriage Works started in 1872, and it later became the Boyertown Carriage Works.
Okay.
And then later, in 1926, it became the Boyertown Auto Body Works. Excuse me. And that's when it became truck body production.
Okay.
So before that, it was horse-drawn, sleighs, wagons, carriages. We are currently restoring this. It's not quite open to the public yet. We're working on it. We've got a blacksmith forge here.
Right.
We'll have some demonstrations. We're going to have some old machines shafting in the ceiling.
Right.
So try to bring back the authentic carriage factory look.
Okay, and this is, a lot of the original stuff is here though, from the day, right? The wood floor and most of the tools.
The tools aren't necessarily original to this building.
Right.
But they're period appropriate.
Right.
Lots of blacksmithing tools, especially, of course, the anvils, tongs and everything.
Wow.
And some machinery that would have fit in here too, like a sewing machine even.
Right.
Because they did upholstery here as well, so
And
a
they
little
built
bit of everything.
the horse and buggies, basically, carriages, and this is where it all started, right here in this room. It's a really neat place. So here we are in the main museum area, and you can see it's packed with old cars and carriages and bicycles and all kind of neat stuff. Local automotive history. And I'm here with my friend Dan Olson. You might recognize Dan from the BC TV show, Wheels Along the Road. Kendra is also on that show. If you recognize her, that's where you know her from. And each month we do a show from Reading at BC TV, and it's sponsored by the museum, and we do different subjects, and we have car quiz. It's been going on for what, Dan, 15 years maybe, or longer?
The show itself?
Yeah, it's been going on.
At least 15 years.
Yeah, going on for a long time. I got involved from my friend Ralph DiStefano about 6 or 8 years ago. I don't even know. But anyway, Dan does the show with me, but he also is a volunteer here at the museum. So Dan, tell us what volunteers do here to help the museum stay current.
Well, I'll tell you, the reason I volunteer is the same reason I do the TV show. I love old cars, and I love telling others about those old cars. And one of the things I do here is I'm a tour guide. And we'll have groups come in, whether they're Cub Scouts or senior citizens, whatever, and I give tours to them. I take them around the museum, explain what all the other vehicles are, and answer the questions. That's one of the things, and I really love doing it.
Right, and then also you do maintenance on some of the vehicles
I
when
do
needed?
not do maintenance.
Oh,
I
but-
used to when I was out of a job. I was in here.
Helping
But,
polish the brass and
Yeah,
shine
polish
in
the
cars.
brands. And a lot of these cars have brass. You look at this one has a
at
lot
that.
right here. And you do this one, then you do the next one, and then it's time to do this one again, and it's
Right.
never ending, really.
So anybody out there that's looking for something to do, that's retired or just loves old cars, call the Boyertown Museum, get in touch with Kendra, and you can volunteer your time over here, be around old cars, and help keep the museum clean and keep the cars in shape. Now, where are you going to see this car at? I'll tell you, the only place to see this car is at the Boyertown Museum. This was built by Tom Massano. Tom Massano has auto dealerships in Reading. It's built on a 53 Henry J chassis. It's made totally out of fiberglass. He wanted his own fiberglass car, and he built this way back in the 50s. And it's here. He donated it to the Boyertown Museum, and one of a kind. You're not going to see it anywhere else but the Boyertown Museum. And Dan and Kendra are pretending they're riding in it on a hot summer day. Hey, how about this 1870 fire pumper? This is what they used to put out fires back in the day. Built in Reading, and it's here at the museum. And right aside of it is a horse-drawn hose cart. Remember, this is how they, if they had a fire on a farm or at a house, They got the horses out and they drug it down, and they had the hose cart, they had the pumper, and really cool examples of early wagons right here at the Boyertown Museum. This is a 2-horse hearse from England, circa about 1870. I mean, this is just it's a kind of an eerie thing to look at, but you have to admire the cut glass and the detail put in this old horse-drawn hearse. There were so many cars built back in the day. There's hundreds of nameplates in the Berks County, Montgomery County area, and one of them was a dial, built in Reading, Pennsylvania. And Dan, tell us about the dial. What do you know about it?
Well, as Mike said, they were built in Reading, Pennsylvania. This is in 1914. We don't know too much about the dial company. We knew who founded it, 2 gentlemen up in Reading. There's only 4 of these cars that we know that exist, possibly 5 out there. And
Wow.
I've gotten in contact with all of them, and it's a mystery, really, and we try to figure out what's going on.
And the picture in the background is a picture of the plant.
Yeah, that's a picture of the plant that we found, and we enlarged it and put it up there.
Right.
And everything is right in that picture. You can see some boring machines for the engine block, and you see some bodies over there on the right. And so they did everything in the one building.
In one building. Wow, that's really cool. And this one is going somewhere, I hear.
Oh yes,
Where's
this
it
is
going?
going to the Philadelphia Car Show next month.
Oh, good.
February 5th, I believe it starts.
Right, the new car show, but they have an old car display also.
Yes, yes.
And this is part of the old car display at the
Correct.
Philly Car Show. How about a Daniels? Did you ever hear of that car? Another car built in Reading. There's 2 of them here at the museum. Dan, why don't you tell us about the Daniels?
The Daniels, okay. These are the Daniels. These were a high-priced car from Reading. They had powerful engines. They always came with a V8 engine. When they started making them, they had a Herschel Spillman engine in these. If you ever heard of that company, they also made carousels.
Oh, okay.
After a while, they quit making the V8 engines. Then Daniels started making their own V8 engines. Used a company in Pottstown.
Really?
Called Light Manufacturing.
Light
was involved.
Manufacturing, right? I've heard of them in
Okay.
Pottstown. Wow.
High-end cars, very expensive. Movie stars had them. People in the oil business, that sort of thing. This white and black one right here was owned by the Heinz family of ketchup and pickle
Oh,
family.
no kidding. Hey, how about these high-wheel bikes here at the museum? There's not just cars and trucks. We got some really cool old bikes. These are called high-wheelers, obviously, because they have one high wheel. Kendra, what can you tell us about the high-wheelers?
Well, these were pretty typical, actually, at one point in our history.
Like 1800s?
Yeah, about 1870s or so.
Late 1800s, yep.
And actually very popular. They look really hard to drive, and they are, but they were actually very popular at one point before we came out with what they called ordinary bicycles, which are more closer to what we would ride today.
Right, and they developed, and I guess, into something more like this.
Yeah, these are ordinary safety bicycles, actually. Now, these 3 that we have right here, these were all built in Pottstown.
Wow.
The first 2 are lights. The third is a Mayo damper. We don't know too much about Mayo damper, but Light Company, we do. We just talked about the Daniels and that they had engines built with the Light Company. This is the
Same manufacturing
same name,
place.
yep. And they went on to do the Merkel Light motorcycle later
Right,
on.
right.
But they started out with bikes, which is pretty typical. A lot of cars and motorcycles, they started out being bike builders. So.
Right, and we talked that it's actually across from my new shop on High Street where Doler Jarvis used to be. That's the vicinity of the Light Cycle Company, Light Manufacturing, because they made other things besides bicycles. I guess everybody remembers the old ice cream truck that came around door to door back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. They still do around Pottstown. This is a 1958 Ford ice cream truck, and it was built here at Boyertown Body Works. And it was beautifully restored, and it's here on display to show you how it was back in the day. Here's an old butcher truck on a Chevrolet chassis built at the Boyertown Body Works right here in Boyertown. Boyertown Body Works built a lot of different vehicles, and they occupied a lot of real estate in Boyertown. Okay, so we have ice cream truck, we have butcher truck. Aside of that is a U.S. mail truck built here at Boyertown Body Works. An Army ambulance, is that what that is? And then we have another butcher truck down there built at the Boyertown Body Works right here in Boyertown. Now, this is a special story, okay? When I was young, in the 60s, 70s, this used to be in my Aunt Ginny's barn, and I used to play in it. She had this and an old car, and I don't remember what the car was, but I remember this wagon very well. It was donated by Willard Reitnauer, my uncle, who had passed away. My Aunt Ginny was actually on last month's show. She spun the wheel, and she's one of our biggest fans on PCTV and car stories. So this is very special to me because it's still here after all these years. I believe it was in the 70s when it came here. And it was built here by Frank Hartman at the Boyertown Carriage Company. And this stage left Boyertown at dawn, carrying the mail. It went to Yellow House, where they switched out the horses because the horses got tired, continued its journey all the way to Reading, delivered the mail, picked up mail, whatever it was supposed to do, came back to Yellow House, dropped off the horses, picked up the original horses, and then came back to Boyertown every day. Can you imagine what they went through to deliver the mail? So just a cool piece of Boyertown history right here. Here's some more carriages that were built here at the carriage factory. After Jeremiah Swinehart had the carriage factory, it was called the Carriage Works by a guy named Mr. Hartman. And these three, 1905, 1902, and 1895, were built by Hartman and Strunk, trading by the name of Boyertown Carriage Works. Here we are with a 1948 Chrysler Town and Country. That's real wood. That's not a decal like some of the later models, like my Buick station wagon has stickers on it. That's real wood. So Kendra, tell us about this beautiful 48 Town and Country station wagon.
Well, this wasn't built here, but it was owned by our founder, Paul Hafer.
He started the museum?
Yep, he started the museum. He was at one point the president of the Boyertown Auto Body Works, and he collected a lot of the stuff that we have on display here. And this was his car. Supposedly, he had a hand in naming it. So
Ford Chrysler, right?
Correct,
The term
yeah.
Town and Country. Yep. Wow, what a beautiful car.
It is. It's beautiful.
How about a 1921 Sunoco gas station? This was actually a prefab building, and if it didn't do well at one location, they moved it to another location. So back in the 20s, they were thinking. The pumps are Fry visible pumps, and I actually had the pleasure of restoring these at my shop. I did the pumps, the kerosene tank, or pump, and the oil tank, which we'll show you on the other side of the building. And then the museum had someone restore the building here, and it just got done for Duryea Day this year, and they actually had a really cool open house ribbon cutting of the Sunoco gas station. The original owner was here, not the original owner, but the guy they got it from, and said he found it in the 60s, and they were using the building as a chicken coop. And it was so neat to have him here and to say how great it looked, fully restored, back of the way it was in 1921. These were visible pumps. I don't know if you know how these work. I can show you. If you open up this door, you would set your gallonage, 1, 2, or 3 gallon. I don't know if you can see that, Gus, if you can zoom in. And then you'd actually pump it. It would fill up 1 gallon, 2 gallon, 3 gallon, and no matter how hard you pumped it, it wouldn't go any further. It would just drain back into the drain. And then you take the hose off into the car, and it was gravity fed into your car. So 1921 visible pump, just a neat piece. And then the kerosene pump, like I said, there is behind it. Works in a similar manner. And we'll show you the oil pump on the other side of the building. So we're on the other side of the gas station now, and here's the oil cart. If you needed oil for your car, you'd pump it through here, fill up a metal jug, something like that one on the floor, and you'd put it in your car. Another pump, visible pump again, on the other side of the Sunoco station. You can see a lot of the cans and ornaments inside the building. If you have anything like that and you want to donate it to the museum, any old Sunoco memorabilia, any old artifacts, cash register, anything that you think the museum might be able to use in their display, give them a call and you can make a donation and it would help make it even better. The clock says 20 after 7. Well, 20 after 7 in the morning, you couldn't get a seat in this place. It was always crowded. This was the Fegley Diner from Mount Penn. It was built in 1938 in Elizabethtown, New Jersey, and it survived there for over 50 years. From the road, you wouldn't have noted it was a portable diner because it was built around over the years and they had dining rooms and waiting rooms, but this was the heart of Fegley's Diner. In 2003, making way for progress, they tore down the diner, but they saved this beautiful piece of history, and it's here at the Boyertown Museum. It needed very little. The countertops are original, the beautiful tile floor is original, the stools are original, the wood, the ice box, the menu boards. It's just unbelievable how this thing survived all them years. Nobody got the idea of cutting it up and making it more modern. It stayed with the original tile. And Kendra, how long has this been here?
This has been here since about 2008 or so.
Okay.
We spent a little bit more than a year fixing it up, and it's been open, and it's probably our most popular piece in the museum, really.
It is. And this winter, they had a little open house here, and they actually served pie, and Kendra was my waitress, served pie and coffee at 1938 prices, which was what, 28 cents?
5-cent coffee
5-cent
and
coffee?
25-cent pie.
So for 30 cents, you got funny cake or shoe fly and a cup of coffee for a nickel. So they're going to do that again? That was a great success.
Yeah, it was. It was a really popular event. We're going to do it again March 22nd, another Saturday.
March 22nd, come over to the museum. You can sit in the old Fegley's Diner, have a piece of pie. Kendra will probably be your waitress, maybe. Dan is a regular here at Fegley's Diner at Boyertown Museum, huh, Dan?
Oh, yeah.
So it ain't just cars and motorcycles and trucks and gas stations. They even have a diner. Well, folks, we're just about out of time on this episode of Car Stories. I want to thank you, Kendra, for inviting me over here.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. And tell us your hours so people can see the museum.
Sure. You're welcome to visit us Tuesday through Sundays, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay. And come on over, bring groups over. They do have senior citizen discounts, and you can become a member of the museum. Or like Dan said, you can volunteer if you have extra time and be around this cool old place with old cars and old diners and gas stations. Dan, thanks a lot for helping with the tour.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Car Stories on PCTV.
And it's a heck of a way to advertise your business. If anyone out there viewing wants to advertise their business, I couldn't tell you a better way to get the word out. And you wouldn't believe the response that we get here of people that watch Car Stories and other shows on PCTV. So remember that. If you're looking at a place to market your business, it's affordable and it really does a good job. So the PCT network is powered by Television, and it's, like I said, a really good place to advertise your business. Hey, hi folks, I'm Mike Yanessa. Hey, we're excited about a new show on PCTV Network called Car Stories. Our show's about old car stories, new car stories, and local automobile history. Join us live every Wednesday on the PCTV Network. Hey, we're looking forward to hearing from you. Remember, it's live on PCTV.
This is our first year of Cub Scouts, and we got to do a lot of really fun things. Things like you can earn really cool belt loops, like kickball, skiing, marbles, and weather. We got to go snow tubing with the pack. It was lots of fun. We got to learn about police dogs at one of our pack meetings. We got to pet them too. You can make your own car to race at the Pinewood Derby. There are campouts with our pack where we get to roast marshmallows. So you should join Cub Scouts now, and you will get to do all these great things and more. We are the members of Tiger Cub 10 and 12, and this is why you should join Cub Scouts. And best of all, you make new friends. Cub Scouts rule!